By the way, it seemed to me that in your presentation, meta-analysis seemed to be very well connected to homeopathy. You mentioned it even in the context of kind of a meta-analysis of meta-analysis. Why does that happen? Is there anything especially difficult about homeopathy, investigating it or something like that, or is there other reasons?
Yes, you're right. I estimate there are about 20 meta-analyses of homeopathy, but you have to understand that only some of them are global meta-analyses. For instance, the Shang meta-analysis in the Lancet, or the previous one also in the Lancet by Klaus Linde. These are global meta-analyses that look at the totality of the data. But then a clever homeopath can say, okay, the totality of the data isn't positive, but homeopathy for fatigue works. I know it works. I've seen it so many times. So that's happened to me. People come with more defined claims, and then you discuss that, and you look at the trial data, and the way to properly look at the trial data is to do another meta-analysis if you can. Often you can't, and then you just do a narrative systematic review. But whatever you do, you need to not cherry pick one study, like homeopaths often do, the positive one. If skeptics then pick the negative one, they're just as bad. It's not good science to do that. The proper way to do it is to look at the totality of the data and to take account of the quality of the data. If you do that, you're doing basically a systematic review.
Mm-hmm. Also, you said about cures that almost appeared overnight, as was the case for swine flu. Do you see that as a frequent problem with homeopathy, or is maybe just isolated case and it's not such a risk?
Well, homeopaths seem to be particularly keen to jump on the bandwagon. If we had a new disease tomorrow that medicine hadn't heard of, I promise you that within a week you would have thousands of websites claiming that homeopathy can cure that entirely new disease for which medicine doesn't have an answer. And you're laughing, but you have to understand the homeopathic philosophy. The homeopath doesn't treat diseases. As a homeopath, I would treat an individual, and I would find out certain things about you and match these characteristics with the characteristics of the remedy. So any new disease will come with certain characteristics and your personal characteristics, and a homeopath will find the remedy for that. So by definition, in the homeopathic philosophy, homeopathy can treat anything.
I see. Just before we close, one more question and then final question. So this would be the first before the last. What do you think skeptical community needs more? Do we need maybe more public communicators, or maybe more scientists, or maybe we need some kind of political lobbying, taking into account that in some countries legal exceptions have been made for alternative medicine and homeopathy in particular?
We need everything. All of that. Homeopaths have an incredibly strong lobby, and that is not just the industry. Obviously, the industry is very interested that they earn their money, but they are religious believers in homeopathy. In Germany, there are politicians. In Britain, it's the royal family, and these are very, very influential people. So we need equally influential people to neutralize that influence. In addition, we need grassroots movements like in Britain, Skeptics in the Pub. that is a movement that is very fast expanding throughout Britain, getting larger and larger, with the common people slowly turning into skeptics, not just about alternative medicine, but about a lot of other things. And that is healthy, because any state relies on its intelligent people, and the skeptics are the intelligent ones. The non-skeptical ones are the stupid ones, in my view.
Okay. Now, just before we close, what plans do you have for the future? Do you plan any new books, or maybe studies, or other type of work that you might want our listeners to know about?
Yeah, over the years we had about 80 different co-workers in my unit, and many of them come from exotic countries. Japan, America, Canada are not that exotic, but Korea, for instance, is exotic. And I have strong cooperation with some of these people. So even though I'm now in half retirement, just looking for a successor and sort of phasing out within a year, I hope, I will be engaged in research, maybe less hands-on, just maybe advising on research protocols and that sort of thing. So I will be still, strictly speaking, research active, I hope, for quite a while. In addition, I hope to take life a little easier, because my wife thinks I'm a workaholic, and I probably am a workaholic. And also I want to publish a few books, and one book that I've started working on is my personal experience through these years. I have undergone challenges that most researchers wouldn't have nightmares over, wouldn't even conceive that these challenges exist. And I have an interesting story to tell, an inside story of alternative medicine. That's not the title of the book, but that's the meaning of the book.
So, after all these years and all the events, would you advise medical personnel who have the scientific background to say, okay, homeopathy doesn't work? Would you advise them to come out and say it publicly as often as they can?
Yeah, sure. One problem with alternative medicine in general is that we have a silent majority of experts. If you consider physicians as experts, scientists as experts, which I do, many of them are totally on my side,
but silently.
But silent. They think, well, it's not a big problem, and I don't want to upset my wife who's taking that stuff, or I don't want to upset Prince Charles because I'm waiting for knighthood, and all that. These people must speak out, not because it's tremendously important. I don't want to overestimate the importance of my own field. You could argue that it's actually not that important. It doesn't kill millions, and it's quite benign, and they're quite charming people, most of them. But there's a principle at stake. If we accept things like homeopathy in an age of evidence-based medicine, we actually make a mockery out of evidence-based medicine. And the principle of good evidence is at stake. I actually, and our book, Simon Singh's and my book, Trick or Treatment, is not a pamphlet against alternative medicine. That would be a total misunderstanding, and I'm not against alternative medicine. What I'm for, and what the book is for, is good evidence in medicine.
Yes.
And there cannot be enclaves of non-evidence or anti-evidence or pseudoscience. That cannot be tolerated. It's a matter of principle.
Professor Ernst, thank you very much for your interview. It was a real pleasure. Also, we actually really enjoyed your talk, and as I've seen from the reactions and people that actually kept you on near the stage after you speak. I think I can speak in the name of all your audience. It was a wonderful talking. Thank you again very much for inviting me.
My pleasure.